Next up. So if they don't get caught in school, this is what happens. They grow up into adults, right? Then they want to go work at the CIA. Victims who claim Victim who claimed she was sexually assaulted at CIA headquarters sues spy agency accusing it of intimidation. Okay, I don't know of a case of anything like this where we did not have a retaliation from any of the men involved. It would include men and other women that want to help out with this male supremacy garbage. Okay, so the CIA is roughly made up of about, I don't know, close to 80% of men, and the percentage of white people is the majority. So, it's a white male supremacist entity. Okay, it was created. I don't know what year. I can do a search, but I think it's kind of irrelevant at this moment. But it was created by all these white men, right? So the agency barely hires women, and in the ratio of women, it's I think it's like the top would be white, and then the next is I believe Hispanic, and then it goes to people of color, and then all the way down, and then it's like 2% Asian or something like that, right? In those ratios, and the women get paid less. Just putting it out there to understand this. So, if I saw those statistics before joining this organization, I would know that I'm going to be raped up in here and they're going to cover it up. Just because that's the mentality of those socios, because they don't believe in, our government does not believe in equality, or this thing. They have a very low opinion of women generally. They target women all day long. They okay their conduct for all things are going to strip clubs and targeting women at our jobs and doing illegal stuff there, and okaying that, but then yet they could sit there and turn around and try to arrest the women there, right? So there's a major abuse of power with this stuff. Now, I don't know if I ran into a CIA guy. It's possible, and I just don't know it. I don't know who the affiliation besides that Homeland thing from that other thing, but I have a major problem with it because of there was two recent news stories that came out that were basically sex shaming women for what they do as a job on the side, which has like no relevancy to anything, and it's just to sex shame women in the media. And they shouldn't lose their job having a legal job. So I noticed in the comments before going on this thing, I noticed in the comments that there was a woman on there that was going nuts, man. I had to tell her off basically, but she was equating somebody doing something on OnlyFans to being a child molester. And I'm like, what? I was like, well, I mean, if we're going to go there, then if we find out the principal is married and he goes home and has sex with his wife, we should out him, right? We should get him out of a job, dude. He's having sex somewhere after school, somewhere that has nothing related to school. This is basically what they're targeting. But they didn't, like, what about the person that was on OnlyFans that even found it? I'm like, what about that person? I've always pointed that out. I'm like, that's interesting. So you're on the adult sites and you're finding all this stuff, and then you go report it, and you don't think that you shouldn't be outed for having all these accounts? Because they're going at it like that, right? So I go, see, they ruin careers over nothing. Like, there's no reasonable cause to sit there and do this mass humiliation through the media to like out somebody doing that, because it doesn't matter. It's a legal job. It would be different if they were doing something illegal on the side, or including the children from the school. Then it would matter. But are you involving your children at your house? I mean, you're in the same house and there's kids in the house. Are you guys having sex in the house with the kids in another room? Wow, we should really go at that. I mean, it's not ridiculous, right? So they've been doing that. Yeah, and this is like National Bully Month. You know what I mean? This is the bully month, and then they're off bullying women again, But our government is a piece of shit. And I was going on this thing. I go, if you're into being degraded by some men and you're totally into that, because there's some women that are into that, or even some guys, Just call one of these government agencies here and they're going to be ready to tell you off and degrade the shit out of you. They're so fun to talk with. They are. They're such pieces of shit because everything like you read, like if you're online, right, and you hear these right wingers going on about women and, going gold diggers, this shit, that's our government. Because I'll call, and I was using the example, I go, okay, so like, oh, I got human trafficked out and they stole like 10 grand from me, blah, blah, this thing. So their brain goes like this, automatic shut off. We don't care about human trafficking and that you got raped. Oh, sounds like you want money. Ding, 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 gold digger. That's where they go with it. Versus the person that stole the 10 grand is the gold digger because the money was fucking mine. And I got, you know what I mean? Like, it's just an example. But yeah, there was an example of some bullshit like that. And I was like, wow. Yeah, and then they turn asshole and they start slamming down the phone and shit, right? FBI. Yeah, so, no, they're dickwads. Oh, they're fun. And even the women, they got the women acting that way. But here's one that's not really digging this shit, okay? So this is in the CIA. And the CIA is worse because I think their ratio is way worse than the FBI's ratio, but they're still shitty over there, okay? So we're going to go down. Now, the CIA has been in trouble for raping men. They have a history of this. So I can imagine it's probably the same frat houses in high school that the case that we went through, right? That they're probably raping each other. It's just a manly thing that we do. So here is a psychotic in this. It's pretty crazy, the story. So it says an unnamed female CIA trainee who claimed she was sexually assaulted in a stairwell in the CIA headquarters in 2022 is suing the agency, claiming that CIA repeatedly and improperly discouraged her from lodging a criminal complaint against her assailant in an attempt to intimidate her from testifying at his trial. Yeah, well, it's a white male supremacist entity. So their MO has always been protect the white man. And we are rapists because nobody acts like this unless they're a sociopath, right? I mean, you're sitting there being a racist and you're a rapist and you don't care about other people's agency. This has actually been going on since the beginning of America, right? So that's their mindset, right? What did I see on this one? It said, rape, choke, and censor. Yeah, that's the CIA. Okay, so watch it goes. The suit specifically claimed that the agency improperly shared the victim's internal workplace instant messages with her assailant's criminal defense team, which the victim claims were intended to falsely portray her as having an extramarital affair. Yeah, so now they start going into a sex shaming thing. So this is a typical MS thing, right? So we're just pointing it out. Like it has no relevancy to some other incident, right? Because rape isn't about consensual sex with somebody, even if they were cheating a million other times with somebody else, right? Because that's some consensual thing between those two idiots. But we're talking about a criminal action that happened on a stairwell, okay? Now, they're good at doing this because they did it to me in court, and it was a crazy thing. We're on a housing case, and why would you bring up any other thing outside that, right? And somehow it works for them. And because everybody hates women so much that you would sit there and listen to some bullshit like this, right? So, yeah, it was pretty crazy. And it wasn't even me that they were saying. I said that they made up that I was my friend and that I did these other things. And I was like, huh? And I don't even know where they got that from either. It was kind of creepy. I was like, maybe they got it from LAPD or something. And they told them to say that. Trying to intimidate me here. And we were in a battle. And I go into court and they had these people say this. And I'm like, that's not true. That's not even me. And then the judge is like, oh, I really want to hear this. Wank, wank, that thing. And I go, but it's not about me. I don't know why are they saying that? It has nothing to do with the case at all. It's just like a total throw off on what we're here for, right? And no, they entertained it, and there was a lot of people in that courthouse, and I was like, dude, they're just doing that to try to humiliate me. And but it's not true. It wasn't about me. So I was just like, how is this even going on in court? And I tried to stop it, and they wouldn't let me. So her assailant was convicted of assault and battery by the Fairfax County General District Court in August in a groundbreaking decision that pried open the tightly closed doors of the nation's largest spy agency. She's my hero. I was like, you know what I mean? Because I've been digging at this for eons. These people come at me. They try to mute me. You want to paint me as crazy. You know what I mean? I have to fight against this bullshit. I go, but y'all haven't called these people. If you call these people, there's a certain special way to deal with these sociopaths. And it's not in a nice way either, because they don't respond to nice, okay? So they respond to you yelling at them and telling them off. That's because that's what their mom and dad did to them, right? So, yeah, no, there's not going to be any of this, I love them and, this shit. No, they're my Hitler. So the suit comes as the CIA continues to face scrutiny on Capitol Hill over its handling of sexual harassment and sexual assault cases. Hey, when you have a government that puts out a notice saying we're going to target women right now, what do you expect? This is them. Because they're rapists, okay? They want to be able to rape everybody. They don't want women to have any power to tell them to stop, okay? So government here, big government, was putting out these fucking notices right in 2014 or right before that or whatever, and no woman gave a shit except me. I saw it and I was like, wow, shouldn't y'all be fucking worried about this, y'all? No. And then, and then they went and did that big old fucking thing on Backpage. I was like, oh, well, they gave you a warning there. Nobody paid attention. Who do you think the CIA is? Those are your sons. Those are your rapist sons. I went to college, raped all the girls in their college frat houses, and then they go get a job over there, right? They never got busted, so they're just rapists, right? And you watch and you listen to everybody going, rape is not a big deal. Who cares? Just throw all the rapists in here. Yeah, that's exactly what happened here. These are the college son of a bitches that fucking raped everybody and they go get a job there. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to rape everybody. Okay, so this is the CIA Inspector General in May initiated a special review after a number of women told Congressional Intelligence Committee that their allegations of sexual misconduct were grossly mishandled. The lawsuit provided some of the first public available details about the allegations that victims have made on Capitol Hill and within the CIA and how the agency has addressed reports on sexual assault. Now, who brought up the story again, right? That was me, right? On the thing where they were doing rectal feeding. So they were raping some guys, right? And so it wouldn't be limited. If they're for raping women, they'll rape men too, right? Rape is rape, right? So we're talking about no agency. And the more we have education on this, the more you can figure out, more and more about each and every rapist, right? Like what they'll do. So it's just a matter of if somebody's like, F you having agency, well, that tells you right there they're a rapist. Like, that's it. Like, that's all you really need to know in order to even know if someone's going to do something like that. So kidnapping people or doing something physically against their will and, and then you have to start questioning the tactics in prisons and, it's going to go into this thing which they don't want to tackle. But because government's a goddamn rapist. Okay, so the suit named Director Bill Burns, who the suit claims was briefed on the assault in the stairwell weeks after it occurred. Okay, so this dude is absolutely psychotic. Okay, a CIA spokesman declined to discuss the specifics of the case, citing ongoing litigation. The CIA protects the privacy of our officers, who are mostly white men, and acts in accordance with the law. And we're allowed to rape everybody. Okay, more broadly, CIA continues to take concerns about our handling of employee allegations of sexual assault and harassment extremely seriously, and we have already taken significant steps in this regard. Do you believe that at all, you guys? These are a bunch of white rapist men, and they're making the rules They're going to come to a conclusion on how to take care of this problem. It wouldn't be yourself, right? Okay, we are focused on instilling in all officers a culture of, here's the thing. When you're a sociopath, we already know that there's no way to fix that, right? So if you're a rapist, because if you're a sociopath, you're a rapist, and you're a male supremacist, you're a white male supremacist, to be exact here, there's actually no cure for you. So I'm curious, like, what you did, because you could help out the professionals of how you corrected this whole thing here, because this is very serious. Because if government's capable of correcting a sociopath fucking rapist, fuck! We have a cure, dude, that we're not using on the rest of society. This is what they're trying to do here, okay? They're not, nothing's going to change, okay? And ensuring they know they are encouraged to report any incidents of sexual assault to law enforcement authorities. Oh, to the other rapists, right? Yeah, okay. So we have also strengthened our response, including your response. What's the response? Telling me off on the phone, right? That's what they've been doing. Not CIA, I don't think, but these other guys. Including making significant organizational reforms and bringing on an experienced outside expert to lead our sexual assault and prevention efforts. You have to get an outside expert because you can't stop being a fucking rapist. I don't know. That's just the thing about it. Doesn't that kind of mean you're incompetent leaders? I think so. So, okay, here's the part that is just like, what the hell? Okay, you good? You good. At issue in the victim's suit is not the assault itself for which the assailant was convicted, but the CIA's handling of the victim's initial report and efforts to seek justice. According to the suit filed Tuesday, Washington, D.C. in 2022, a male CIA trainee, this is the trainee, okay? So this is the guy that was in school. He grew up. He's a sociopath rapist, and he got away with it the whole time, right? Now he's like, I'm going to be in the CIA. And we love this guy. And this is what he does, okay? He snuck up behind the female officer who is hearing impaired, right? So she can't really hear good. In a stairwell, and he wrapped a scarf tightly around her neck and began strangling her with it and made lewd remarks and tried to kiss her forcibly on her mouth. Now, when this came up, something even similar, the kissing shit, men have been downgrading this and minimizing this to nothing. You're a rapist. Okay, but he also choked her. So he's like a Ted Bundy, right? He's like, I'm just going to come up to this woman and choke her. Now, I had a similar situation just like this, right? And what happened? LAPD minimized it to nothing, and he's just drunk and left, right? So this is 2009, okay? So it was part of the investigation report thing, because they were, okay, so here's the problem with what LAPD's been doing. So part of that investigation. Okay, so they've been not arresting individuals who are violent sexual predator offenders, right? Or domestic violence or anything like that, right? And so what they would do is come onto scene, downgrade it to nothing, and some dispute, right? This is crazy because there was no dispute in the thing. And then they wouldn't arrest. So they were not arresting people who are supposed to be arrested, right? In those cases. If you go choke a woman, you need to go get fucking arrested. It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? And then they were inside a room that is illegal too. So, you know what I mean? There was a whole number of things there. So all the cases that were part of that were things where the officers were not making proper arrests where they were supposed to, and they rewrote the story. And yeah, so they've been on this thing, right? But here's another example of big government doing that, right? So she gets choked by this guy. Shouldn't he be in jail? Yeah, right? Okay, so the female officer told her assailant to stop, and fled. And he immediately tried unsuccessfully to wrap the scarf around plaintiff's neck again. Like, what a psychotic, right? This guy, like, literally should be 5150'd and in fucking jail. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? But that's your CIA. That's who they're like, this guy's great for us. He's perfect. We got to keep this guy that wants to choke all the women up here and force himself on them. Followed the plaintiff to her office, grabbed and forcibly kissed her. The suit alleges, hours after the attack, her assailant twice texted plaintiff to ask, you good? You good? Yo, you good? Yeah, that dude. That's your CIA. I think people just have this weird perception of your government. Maybe because of Hollywood, they make them seem like these really smart, like no nonsense guys. Oh no, this is your typical government right here. Because when you talk to them, this is the asshole that I get. And boy, do we get into fights. Okay, yes. And you can't talk to them like how social media wants you to talk. You got to be nice and lovely to these people. No. And there's a reason, because they're socios. And because they got abused so fucking much as a kid that they do not respond to that. They will disregard you completely. So I have to chew them the fuck out. And then all of a sudden, some shit happened, right? That's why I said, there's a reason why this one job hired me, because I was so good at dealing with any asshole under the sun. Any asshole. Any fucking asshole. So I could be really nice, but I also have to deal with these guys differently. And so it may not sound nice. It may sound evil. It may sound all kinds of things, but I have to do it because they do not respond properly because of child abuse. That's the reason. Just so you guys understand that. So, no, I have to deal with these son of a bitches differently. They need to be called out differently, and they need to be spoken to differently because they don't respond any other way. It's the unfortunate thing about it, right? According to the suit, he had earlier sent her a series of obscene workplace IMs. This is CIA, you guys. These are the spies. That's why they're all raping women. They go and do these spy things, whatever they do. And you'll hear these stories, that they go rape somebody. But then government, puts in the notations on their documents, whatever that is. They go, you got to beware of being with women because they could turn around and blackmail you. That's how government was putting shit. Versus they're a bunch of rapists and they start abusing their power onto others. And it's just being exposed here. This was always seen as normal. They would normally just blame this woman for him doing it, right? They're like, you must have done something for this guy to treat you in that way. Okay, so both were clandestine service trainees who were learning to recruit and handle CIA asset spies. And their names have been publicly withheld in court proceedings as a result. A lawyer for the assailant who is appealing did not respond to multiple emails from CNN. According to transcripts, the criminal proceedings obtained by CNN, the lawyer during the assailant's criminal trial in August acknowledged that his client wrapped the scarf around the woman in the stairwell, but insisted his actions were a joke that maybe was misunderstood or didn't land the way it was intended. Okay, as we know, rape and all this shit, it has to do with being, humiliating and degrading and power and control, right? So saying it's a joke, well, that's part of being a rapist, right? In its own way, right? So, not passable. You're admitting he's a rapist, technically. So, sorry, lawyer, you suck. You're a bad defense. Instant messages. Okay, so the suit. Instant messages. The suit lays out a series of alleged episodes in which the victim says the CIA discouraged her from reporting the attack and then retaliated against her for doing so. But it was the CIA sharing the victim's internal instant messages that gave her cause for legal action. According to Carroll and the suit, during the assailant's trial in August, his defense attorney informed Carroll that the CIA had provided them with a selection of IMs between the victim and another colleague that appeared to show the victim, who is married, complaining about her sore after sex with the call. Oh man, this is in public now. According to the suit, the message had been selectively edited, and the victim was in fact complaining about being sore after a workout. Oh, wow, dude. John Doe, or a colleague, Richard Rowe, acts as men have been doing this the whole time, is sex shaming us. So, I'm down for sex shaming them any day of the fucking week, and it will not end well for them. printed her records from a top secret computer system and provided copies of these IMs to plaintiff's assailant's defense team, only after selectively editing plaintiff's IMs to make them appear salacious, and they are neither a complete record of the individual's workplace correspondence nor in any way relevant to plaintiff's complaint. There you go. Taking things out of context. If you guys remember the last story with the officer that tried to get the girl 5150'd, right? So this is the same conduct, right? Yeah. So we're going to take it out of context. We're going to do this other thing, and that's what men have been doing the whole time. That other team did it to me too, so I was like, no, we're not having that. 20 years ago, so over 20 years ago. But yeah, so that was the first time I really experienced that in the worst way. The threat to introduce IM's embarrassing to plaintiff is what's known as slut shaming. Yeah, an effort to undermine a valid claim of sexual assault by alleging that the complainant's purported consensual sex with others mitigates her assailant's non-consensual acts, right? Yeah. Carol's, and guys don't even get this. They go slut around all the time. It's like, dude, I mean, wouldn't it be bad on you just generally? Because that's what you do, you know. Carol said neither he nor the victim have copies of the IMs. The judge in the assailant's case did not admit them into evidence. Other allegations. In July 22, just a week after the assault, the suit claims that the CIA advised the victim not to contact law enforcement. But if you choose to proceed with law enforcement, then any investigation the CIA is conducting will come to a complete stop. Quotes a CIA representative as telling the victim, they do not concurrent investigations and will have to wait to take any administrative actions, including disciplinary measures, until the police conclude theirs. It is a difficult choice, I am sure, and perhaps wait out the findings of the security portion and then determine how you wish to proceed. August 22, according to the suit, the CIA's Office of Security, charged with the internal investigation of the matter, determined inaccurately that plaintiff's assailant had committed no crime. Wow. Wait, they determined inaccurately that the plaintiff's assailant had committed no crime. That's what LAPD did, and then closed the investigation in September. We run around and we choke women and we try to rape them. No crime. We see no crime. We see no crime. Yeah. Later that month, the suit claims the agency ordered the victim not to discuss her assault with anyone and threatened her that doing so may violate federal law. The victim, I would have a hard time with these guys because that ain't happening. The victim eventually reported the assault to the FBI and the police in December. Well, is the FBI being nice to you? Because they weren't nice to me. The suit claims that the CIA counsel unlawfully advised plaintiff that she must not truthfully answer any of the law enforcement's questions about purportedly classified matters without advance permission from the agency. God, it's like joining a gang, man. Like, what is that? It specifically ordered plaintiff to protect the secret of her and her assailant's affiliation with the agency. They must not know that you're an agent. The government's a piece of shit. Every part of it. According to the suit, the victim engaged in a number of written exchanges with the Office of Security as well as the agency's general counsel about her desire to report the assault to law enforcement. The CIA argues that the bulk of this internal correspondence is classified. January 2023, the victim claims that the CIA warned her she faces unspecified consequences if she spoke to congressional oversight committees after receiving whistleblower protection status. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it from the fucking rapist white man. Yeah, I got these strange threats too. Like, you know, I don't know, but I ignore them. In August, during a recess of assailant's criminal trial, the suit alleges that a member of the agency's Office of Public Affairs, OPA, pulled plaintiff out of an ongoing training session, part of her regular employment duties at the time, to tell her that The Associated Press was in the process of deciding at the highest levels whether to publish her name in relation to the criminal case against her assailant, an event that would effectively end her agency career. The suit claims that the AP had repeatedly reassured the Public Affairs Office that it would not publish the victim's name. OPA could not have been confused on the basic point. The unnecessary interruption of the victim's intensive training with OPA's false statement caused her considerable distress before the AP confirmed the falsity of OPA's statement and reassured the victim. A representative for AP did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The suit also claimed that the victim's performance reviews were downgraded based on her decision to appear before the House of Intelligence Committee to discuss her assault. Her training supervisor also allegedly chastised the victim verbally and in writing for allegedly interjecting her personal information into the agency's training environment. I don't know what happened with the media thing, but I got outed on my story as well. But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they should have protected me because they were under investigation, and I told them that. And they said, well, we won't run any story at all unless we can out your name. I'm like, well, we're literally in the middle of a dangerous thing here. And if you're going to out my name, so it was only on the basis of this. If you're going to out my victim's name, then you need to run the story and the portions of the cops, because otherwise, I wouldn't give the story, right? And so instead what they did was out my name and leave the cop portion out of it completely. I literally could have sued probably for that. I know that I think they did an audio recording of stuff, but you know, these people, the media is not to be trusted. Mostly after that, I was like, you literally put me in danger and I could have got killed. And then, yeah, and then it led to the other crap from LAPD. So, yes, it was insane. Like, the media person did not take the allegations seriously. And then, really horrible things happened to me afterwards. And then, yeah, it was just outing me so all the gang member cops and sheriffs can go target me more. Yeah, thank you. We'll never forget it. And then I was demanding legal for it because I was like, no, I'm going to sue these motherfuckers, you know. But they were denying me legal, all sorts of things here, okay? The CIA insists it has oh my God, this comment was like, what the hell? The CIA insists it has a laser-sharp focus on ensuring officers have a safe and secure work environment. Laser-sharp focus on white men, ensuring that they're protected. Basically, right? I mean, that's the meat of the agency. I was like, laser-sharp focus on ensuring. I was like, what is that? Okay, anyway, in 2021, a CIA officer said the agency established an office to respond to sexual assault allegations, and in May, was that a new thing they just put there? I don't know, but it's all in May. Yeah, allegations, and in May, hired Dr. Talita Jackson, a psychologist who previously oversaw a similar program for the Navy, to run the program. And they're all rapists, right? Still? You have a problem with the Navy, you have a problem with the military itself, you have a problem with FBI, you have a problem with the CIA, you have a problem with the DOJ, you have a problem with with the presidents, obviously, but any agency around them. You have a problem with the local government. I mean, like who? You know what I mean? Like, you're looking at it going, they're all a bunch of rapists, so technically, if you go to one agency, someone's going to cover that up, and you go to another, they start covering that up. And you need a psychologist? Like, maybe you shouldn't have got the job if you need a psychologist in your fucking work. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it's such a effed up thing here. Like, we can't figure out if we're rapists or not. It's like, you're a bunch of sociopaths. So, what can this psychologist finally, get a diagnosis on these guys? A proper one? This is ASPD, that thing? Because nobody else does that besides them. And nobody else is a racist. And they believe that their gender is the ruling fucking king of the universe. Yeah, that's a socio thing. So, can you finally diagnose them, Dr. Talita? You know what I mean? It's just like this weird thing. But it says, according to the officer, Jackson is developing a tailored training curriculum for agency employees and is ensuring her office is fully resourced with training. Oh God, they got the dumbest. I don't know what the fuck. Resources with training officers to provide support to victims and respond to incidents of sexual assault within our agency community. They're socios. What are you talking about? Like, what are you going to do? Please don't rape people. They don't even care, right? And then they have no emotions or anything. So, like, they don't give a shit. I mean, you're developing a tailored training curriculum. So you're training socios. Like, stop being a socio. Stop. Stop. We choke women. We rape them. Why is that guy still here? Who the fuck wants a guy that's choking women working in the CIA? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you think you're going to fix that? He shouldn't be there to begin with. How did he even get a job there? How did he get through life this far to be able to get into the CIA? Can you answer that? Do they not do psychological tests before you go in? You probably do, and you look at it and go, oh, do you beat up women? We're totally fine with that. That's possible. Hired. Okay, so the agency has also created a resolution office reporting to Chief Operating Officer that will serve as the agency's focal point for harassment, misconduct, and grievance resolution process. Why do we have to have all this? Because just check this out. An agency that's ran by a bunch of rapist white men, they have to have all these resources because they're a bunch of rapists, right? Because they can't fucking be normal humans. You need an agency focal point for harassment because white men can't stop fucking harassing everybody and they can't stop their misconduct, and you need a place to complain on them because they can't fucking behave. And can we talk about their racism problem here? Because, like, why is it all white guys there? Okay, and ensure that specialty training officers are empowered to identify best options to resolve issues with a focus on fairness, transparency, and timeliness. I'll tell you right now, that guy should be in prison, and he shouldn't be with the CIA. So you're basically just watering it down and trying to act like he could be changed or something. And you should actually let that guy change as he's like choking women and being a rapist. He should have never been able to get hired up in here or become a trainee up in here. You know, he should be gone. Like, that's kind of a no-brainer, right? You got a little problem there. You get a little Ted Bundy around women and you want to choke them in a stairwell. Like, what the fuck? But this is our government. If you read the backstory, oh my god, in the 90s, it was I don't have it now because it was on my old computer when I was pulling stuff up. There was an old newspaper article, and it was talking about how these guys would tie him up and strap him and whip him and do all this shit in the fucking 90s, dude. I'm like, it sounds like a house of BDSM, like what they were doing. And I was like, this is craziness. Yeah, no, but this is that. You want to go work with them? I wouldn't. They're a bunch of psychotics.